Maybe there is more detail, right, later.
Yeah, there's later in later chapters. There's
Mm.
how he's fighting with the club and all these things. There's
Mhm.
more fighting.
Okay, Prabhu, I'll sing this bhajan.
Yeah. Okay, 1 minute. Let me share the screen and let me start the yeah.
Okay. গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলকা শরীরা হরি হরি বলিতে নয়ন বাবে নীরা और কবে নিতাই চন্ডে করুণা হইবে সংসার বাসন মোরা কবে তুচ্ছ হবে বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মানা कभी हम हेराबो श्री वृंदावना रूपा रघुनाथ पदे होए बेअकुति कभी हम बुझाबो से जुगल प्रीति रूपा रघुनाथ पदे रहो मोरा आशा प्रार्थना करो ए सदा नरोत्तम दासा गौरांग বলিতে হবে পুলকা শরীরা হরি হরি বলিতে নয়ন বাবে নীরা हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Translation. When will that opportune moment come to us, when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name? While chanting Hare Krishna, when there will be tears in the eyes? When will I obtain the mercy of Lord Nityananda Chandra? When by his mercy will the desire for material enjoyment become very insignificant? When the mind is completely purified, being freed from material anxieties and desires, then I shall be able to understand Vrindavan and the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, and then my spiritual life will be successful. When shall I be very much eager to study the books left by the six Goswamis, headed by Sri Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. By their instruction, I shall be able to properly understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. My only aspiration is to attain the lotus feet of the six Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Narottam Das constantly prays to attain their lotus feet. So, Narottam Das Thakur is praying, when will my body, there will be Ashta Sattvika Vikar, ecstatic symptoms. When I chant Gauranga's name, when I chant Hare Krishna, when will there be tears in my eyes? And only by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, that this material happiness will seem insignificant. It's like a drop of water in a desert. We'll get that realization. It's useless endeavor to seek for material enjoyment. And when the mind is purified and does not have any material desires, and no lamentation, no hankering, Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, na shochiti na kakshit, then I will be able to understand Radha Krishna's conjugal loving affairs, and also I'll be able to actually see the Dham properly. The Dham will be revealed to me. And when would I study all the books of the six Goswamis and understand, their bhav, like they all are manjari. So when will I be, wanting to serve Radha and Krishna in the mood of a maid servant? Yeah, only by getting the blessings of the six Goswamis, by reading their books and by following the instructions, then I'll be able to attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Pulaka means trembling, right? Pulaka. Shivering, I think. Nayana is eyes, near is water. So Bhagavatam says if we are chanting and if there is no tears in the eyes, then our heart is very hard,
Steel framed
steel framed,
because of offenses.
offenses. Yeah, so offenses, so many material desires, so we are not able to focus on the holy name. So, Akuti is like eagerness. What is Akuti? What happened? Eager, yeah. When I'll be eager to get the feet, eager to, so eager for the feet or the mercy. Or is eager to study the books left by. So, हमें बुझाबो means understand. बुझाबो से जुगल पीरिति. Jugal means the two, Radha and Krishna. Jugala pīriti. Priti is the affection, affectionate loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. When will I be able to understand? Or then I will be able to understand. When I'm very eager to get the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath. Pade. Pade is feet. Feet is not translated here. My asha, my hope is that, again he says Rupa Raghunatha Pade. So my hope is to attain the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Prarthana. This is from Prarthana also. So, Narottam Das Thakur's book, Prarthana. Prarthana karo is sada, always praying. So eagerness is the key, I think. The eagerness, hope and eagerness, hope in the mercy and eagerness to receive the mercy. Okay. Prabhupada said like that without eagerness, without enthusiasm, if there is no eagerness, there is no enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, everything is finished. He said like that. So then somehow we have to get eager, very eager to get Krishna's mercy, Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. And that eagerness is the price. And How do we get that eagerness? When we associate with those who are very eager, then we will also get some eagerness. Oh, how they are so eager, eagerly serving. And when the heart becomes clear of material desires by the process of bhakti, then that eagerness will be very strong. Eagerness to go back. Like Prabhupada says, most of us are not desiring or not eager to go back home, back to Godhead. That desire is not very strong because there are so many desires in this world to enjoy. And when those desires are there to enjoy in this world, then that eagerness, the desire to go back to the spiritual world is not strong. So, so ultimately, devotional service should make us anyabhilashita shunyam. Anyabhilasha, we have to give up all the other desires, which are really not in our benefit. So, to pray to Krishna, as Prahlad Maharaj prays. Okay, we have heard this, all this, nothing new. What I'm saying is, okay. So we will read some. Anything else anyone would like to say? So eager to do devotional service is the qualification to get Krishna prem. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritir na labhyate. If this is Krishna prem is available, but you have to pay one price. Mulya means price. Mool. That is your eagerness to get it. So, like Dhruva Maharaj was very eager. Although he had material desire, but he was very eager to see the Lord and get his help. So much eagerness that nothing could stand in the way. So, his determination was so, his eagerness was so much. Okay. And when we will become eager about, when we will understand that this is my real self interest, the other things are not my self interest, then we'll become eager. So, this is what is like, people are eager to earn so much money. So, they are, they take so much pain to go here and there and, start a new business and this and that, so many things, so much eager, which can be good if you are using the money for Krishna, which is good also. But we are so eager to earn money, right? We want to earn money, we want to enhance our career. I can do this. People travel like 4 days a week and come back on Monday to Thursday, then they come back Friday, catching so many flights, and sometimes you don't have any option, but there is so much eagerness. So that's why wherever we feel that there is happiness, that's where we will be eager to do those things. So, so if you feel that there is happiness going only in devotional service, there is happiness, then we'll be eager to do devotional service. So like that. Okay. Like I was eager to get admission into some premier college. So then you study, you prepare, you do your exams, and you do your coursework and so many things. So Prabhupada says, without eagerness and hard work, nobody can even become an important figure in this material world. If you want to advance in material life, also you have to have eagerness. But of course, we know that eagerness is not fruitful unless it is used in service of Krishna, that somehow you connect it with Krishna. But even if you want to do something in this world, you want to become PhD or something like that, you have to be very eager and you have to be very perseverant. Persevere means the results are not coming, but you do keep doing your research because you have to write your thesis. You want to get results, you do your experiment again and again. So there may be some failures also, but you keep trying, keep trying. So in spiritual life also, that eagerness should be there. Of course, I'm just saying, but that's then how I can get mercy. What can I do to get mercy of the Lord? How much hard work I should do. Prabhupada says the Lord wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. Oh, what are you going to sacrifice for the Lord? Like that day we were hearing Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, he says, previously pran jai par vachan na jai. Now the motto is pran jai par, what did he say? Anybody remember? Pran jai par vachan na jai was previously. Pran jai par.
I don't know.
Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, that lecture. Pran jai par dhan na jai. He was saying like that. Yeah. Everybody is so attached to the money. They are not willing to part with their money for Krishna's service. Pran jai par dhan na jai. So he was saying like that. I'm just quoting him. So we are not willing to sacrifice for Krishna. That's why we are holding back. Like Premilas Prabhu was saying in his class, surrender means everything for Krishna, nothing for me. Of course, we are living in this. I cannot say this, I am living in big house and all this. So it may sound like hypocrisy. that, but yeah, we have to then use everything, whatever we have, we try to use in Krishna's service. So the Lord wants to see how much you are going to sacrifice for Him. What are you going to do? Like Prabhupada's disciples, they did so much tapasya to spread Krishna consciousness. When we do so much tapasya for our material advancement, what tapasya are we going to do to get Krishna? Dhruva Maharaj did such a ghor tapasya, like 6 months. But of course, Prabhupada says we can't do. We are not. It's not recommended to do such tapasya. But simple tapasya we have to do. We have to chant at least 16 rounds. We have to follow the four regulative principles. Eat only prasadam. This is the tapasya. Not control our tongue, not criticize devotees. So many things like that. This is the tapasya for this age. So tapasya is made simple for this age. But Lord Chaitanya says, playing the part of conditioned soul, says, oh, but even this is so difficult. Durdeva midrishamiha janinanu raga. I have no taste. Even though you have made it so easy and so simple and it is so powerful, your holy name is so powerful, but oh, I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for chanting the holy name. So like that. Of course, you all are very advanced, but I'm just saying general. Okay, so next verse we will read. 3:14:27. And sometimes the problem is that, even though things are not right, we are not feeling bad about it. That's another problem. If I'm not chanting nicely, if I'm looking at my phone, I should feel bad. I'm not paying attention to Krishna nicely, or I'm not even chanting my rounds. First, we have to chant our rounds. Then the question of quality comes. First, we have to chant. Like sometimes people say, if I'm chanting inattentively, should I chant? Yes, you should chant, because if you don't chant in the fear that, okay, I'm going to chant inattentively, then there is no hope. But first we chant and then we try to also bring our mind. So to the holy name. So that's how we want to do. We want to do, and then we want to do it also right. So we know that, inattentive chanting is the mother of all offenses. Means you will commit the blasphemy of devotees. If you chant inattentively, you will commit blasphemy of devotees. It is a mother, means you will commit sinful activities also if you are chanting inattentively. Mother means it is the root, it is the source of all other offenses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. So we should think that how grave it is, these offenses, to chant inattentively. Okay. It will cause me to do other offenses because it is the mother. So, okay, so the next verse, 3:14:27. Although no one in the material world is equal to or greater than Lord Shiva, and although his unimpeachable character is followed by great souls to dismantle the mass of nations, he nevertheless remains as if a devil to give salvation to all devotees of the Lord. So he purposefully resides in crematorium because he wants to give his association to the bhutas and the pretas and hobgoblins and things like that. So, like Prabhupada came to Bawari and he stayed there in Bawari just to give his association to all the fallen souls. He was living in Vrindavan, but he came to Bawari to live there. So, devotees, they go, the pure devotees, they go to those places. Like Nityananda Prabhu, he would go to downtrodden places where there is violation of regulative principles, and he would preach there. Lord Shiva's uncivilized, devilish characteristics are never abominable because he teaches the sincere devotees of the Lord how to practice detachment from material enjoyment. So, by his own example, he's showing how to practice. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam. He's come to teach us Vairagya Vidya. And Raghunath Das Goswami and so many. Mahaprabhu Bhakta Ganer Vairagya Pradhan. Yaha dekhi
प्रीत होए श्री गौर भगवान.
Shri Gaura Bhagavan. So Mahaprabhu has come to teach us detachment from sense gratification, basically, and engagement in devotional service. He is called Mahadev, or the greatest of all demigods. And no one is equal to or greater than him in the material world. Mahadev, Maha means the great demigod. He is also demigod. He is Shiva Tattva. He is almost equal with Lord Vishnu. Still, he is not the same. That's why we have the offense to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Why? Because if it was the same, he's equal, but his name is not the same. To consider that it is equal to the same. If I chant Om Namo Shivaya and Hare Krishna, it is both the same. No, it is not the same. Although he always associates with Maya, Durga, he is above the reactionary stage of the three modes of material nature. His wife is Durga Devi, who is considered Maya. And although he is in charge of devilish characters in the mode of ignorance, he is not affected by such association. Because he is such exalted personality, Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu, that even though he associates with those lower in consciousness, his consciousness is not affected. Like Prabhupada, he came and he saw all the people here doing all kinds of sense gratification, but he was not affected by it. Because the pure devotees are like that, they are not affected. Unfortunate foolish persons, not knowing that Lord Shiva is engaged in his own self, laugh at him. in his own self. Such foolish persons engage in maintaining the body, which is eatable by dogs, with dresses, ornaments, garlands, and ointments. So Kashyap Muni is, I think, describing about Lord Shiva's greatness, or what is it? Diti has approached Kashyap Muni at the wrong time, and Lord Shiva never accepts any luxurious dress, garland, or ornament or ointment. But those who are addicted to the decoration of the body, which is finally eatable by dogs, very luxuriously maintain it as the self. So our body is dead, but it is presence of the soul that makes it alive. And we have to do so much decoration on this body to make it look nice. So Prabhupada says, those who are addicted to the decoration of the body, which ultimately will be eaten by the dogs. But the body is dead. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam, he says that our body is nothing but a corpse, dead corpse flapping only for a few seconds. Like that, something like that. Our human life, this life is nothing but a dead corpse flapping only for a few seconds. Yeah, read that.
The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization is like the decoration of a dead body. Everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days, and yet all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration of this dead body.
Hmm. Everybody is so much, you know, cosmetics and how to make the body look very nice. But Krishna does not look at the body. Putana was very beautiful when she disguised herself. But Krishna closed his eyes. He didn't want to look at Putana. Oh, such a beautiful lady. And Krishna doesn't want to look at. No, because he was looking at the heart. He was looking at the heart of Putana. The heart was not pure. So Mahaprabhu even embraced Vasudev leper, whose body was very foul smelling and had all worms and everything. Mahaprabhu embraced him. Or Nityananda Prabhu went and lived with Hiranya Pandit, although he was very, very poor. Why? Because they had devotion. One verse is like that. Yesterday we were reading. Nityananda Prabhu left the association of others and he went and stayed with Hiranya Pandit. Why? Because he was a devotee of the Lord. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada stayed with Gaur Govind Swami in the hut in Bhubaneswar. So, for many days, like that. So, it is the devotion that attracts the Lord, nothing else externally. That's what Prahlad Maharaj also says. Manye dhana vijana rupa tapashruta ojas. You cannot impress the Lord with your learning and all these things. It's your heart, your devotion in the heart. That much you have, that will attract the Lord. Of course, we know all this, just repeating it. So, those who are addicted to the decoration of the body, which is finally eatable by dogs, very luxury maintain it as the self. So, they are trying to do all the cosmetics and everything to make it look very nice, thinking that this is me. Such persons do not understand Lord Shiva. Now we think gopis are also dressing them very, very nicely, but they are doing it all for the pleasure of Krishna. So, and they don't have material body; they have spiritual bodies and things like so. In the spiritual world, it's different. There also they may have decorated themselves, but it's different because they want to make Krishna happy. Of course, yeah, we know, but Krishna is. They are also pure devotees. So. Such persons do not understand Lord Shiva, but they approach him for luxurious material comforts. So they want something from Lord Shiva. There are two kinds of devotees of Lord Shiva. One class is the gross materialist. seeking only bodily comforts from Lord Shiva. Another class desires to become one with him. They are mostly impersonalists and prefer to chant Shivoham, I am Shiva, or after liberation I shall become one with Lord Shiva. So either you want material enjoyment, so you're worshipping Lord Shiva, or there is another class who worships to become one with Lord Shiva. In other words, the karmis and jnanis are generally devotees of Lord Shiva, but they do not properly understand his real purpose in life. Sometimes so called devotees of Lord Shiva imitate him in using poisonous intoxicants. Bhang, Shivratri they will drink bhang in imitation of Lord Shiva because he drinks like that. Lord Shiva once swallowed an ocean of poison and thus his throat became blue, Nilkant. The imitation Shivas try to follow him by indulging in poisons and thus they are ruined. The real purpose of Lord Shiva is to serve Lord Krishna, the soul of the soul. Lord Shiva desires that all luxurious articles, such as nice garments, garlands, ornaments, and cosmetics, be given to Lord Krishna only, because Krishna is the real enjoyer. So he doesn't want anything because he thinks that all these things are meant for Lord Shiva. I mean, Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva thinks like that. Lord Shiva refuses to accept such luxurious items himself because they are meant only for Krishna. However, since foolish persons do not know this purpose of Lord Shiva, they either laugh at him or profitlessly try to imitate him. So that's the principle that everything for Krishna, nothing for me. But of course, we cannot be in austere conditions, very austere conditions, like Raghunath Das Goswami, and practice bhakti. Raghunath Das Goswami was very austere. In eating, and like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he would wear discarded cloth, and we can't imitate. But we have to also be comfortable. If there is no heater in the house and it's very cold, we can't chant only. It's very cold and sub-freezing. Like Raghunath Das Goswami sat in the hot sun and he was chanting Hare Krishna, oblivious to all the heat and everything, till Radharani came. They are in a different category. We can't imitate those great souls. We don't have to do those kind of austerities also. It is not possible. We will die if we do austerities like Raghunath Das Goswami and things like that. So, the main austerity also Prabhupada recognized is to spread Krishna consciousness. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that person was doing Nirjala Ekadashi, Brahmachari, and says, so why he has not gone out for Sankirtan? Oh, because he is doing Nirjala Ekadashi, he is feeling very weak. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, no, let him take some prasad and go out. Let him take some prasad and go out. So if austerity makes us weak and we are not in a position to do our services, we can't chant, if we can't hear, if we can't preach, then what is the use of austerity? Like Narad Muni says, what is the verse? Aradyato.
Aradito yadi haris tapasata kim. Naradito yadi haris tapasata.
If you're not worshipping Krishna, then what is the use of your austerity? If I'm observing Nirjala Ekadashi and I'm sleeping whole day because I'm feeling weak, then I'm not chanting, not hearing about Krishna. Then what is the use? Then better eat something, and then so that is the purpose, is to serve Krishna. And austerity should help us in serving. It, of course, it increases our determination and things like that. Prabhupada said like that. Ekadashi means you should fast to decrease the fat in the body, because all the time our senses are uncontrolled, and like today the fasting time is at 10 o'clock. You know that? It's 10:11 to 11 minutes past 10 or something like that, to 11:07 or something. So anyway, it's the Parayan time. But the austerity is meant to increase our service to Krishna. It's not meant to decrease our service to Krishna. So that austerity is not good. So we can do as much austerity as it's possible. We can't do like Raghunath Das Goswami was chanting. He was offering, with all that minimal eating and everything, he was offering 1,000 obeisances to the deity and 2,000 obeisances to Vaishnavas, something like that, every day. And he was chanting, I don't know, 100 and whatever, 100 plus rounds and everything. And so every day he was doing like that. He was taking little buttermilk every other day. So, so by austerity, you cannot get Krishna. Manye dhana bijana rupa tapa. Tapa is austerity. Tapa shruta ojas. Bhaktya tutosha bhagavan gajayutapaya. Only by, we have this pastime of in Srivas Thakur's house that brahmachari is saying, oh, he's only drinking milk. This is milk drinking brahmachari. He's very austere. Mahaprabhu said, if by only drinking milk, if I could be attained, then that's not how bhakti can be. Just by drinking milk and things. Only by devotion you can attain Krishna. But austerity we have to, what as much as we can do, we should do. It should not disturb our devotional service. Okay, so next verse. Any other comments anybody has? Demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of material energy, which causes the creation of the material world. So Lord Shiva is considered also the father of the material world, in the sense that the glance of Mahavishnu on the Pradhan is actually Lord Shiva, and through which he injects. It's described somewhere else. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, the controller of material energy. Durga is the personified material energy, and Lord Shiva, being her husband, is the controller of material energy. He is also the incarnation of the mode of ignorance and one of the three deities. Sometimes it's confusing. It's Prabhupada writes, he is the incarnation of the mode of ignorance. Means he is in ignorance? No, he is in charge of the mode of ignorance. But it says here is also the incarnation of the mode of ignorance. Maybe because Brahma became angry, and through anger, Lord Shiva was manifested like that. I don't know. It's very confusing sometimes. But Lord Shiva is great devotee, so how can he be in the mode of ignorance? And one of the three deities representing the Supreme Lord. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So milk and curd, not much difference, but still there is a difference. Shiram yatha dati vikara vishesha yoga. It's described in Brahma Samhita.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yeah.
If Lord Shiva is in charge of mode of ignorance, then what type of boon he gives to his devotee? I'm kind of confused.
He's very easily satisfied. For devotees, he can give Krishna Prem. He has a parampara, right? Rudra parampara. We have 4 paramparas.
What is the meaning of he is in charge of mode of ignorance?
Means he takes care of the people who are in the mode of ignorance, like bhutas and pretas.
Oh, okay. Fallen people.
Fallen people, yeah.
Okay.
And also he basically destroys when he does his tandav nritya. So destruction is also
Annihilation.
is, yeah. So in that way we can understand like that. Any other comments anybody has? Then share. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very great, and his renunciation of all material enjoyment is an ideal example of how one should be materially unattached. Prabhupada said that we should live our life in a renounced spirit. One should therefore follow in his footsteps and be unattached to matter, and not imitate his uncommon acts like drinking poison. So we can take this example of how he's detached from material enjoyment and follow that. Of course, we can't, that doesn't mean we have to go and live in the crematorium or something and put ashes all over our body. as many do. Like in Kumbh Mela, there are many who are smeared with ashes, and they have the trident like Lord Shiva, and they are. But the process given by Srila Prabhupada is different. That's not the way we do. We have to follow the Mahajans like Srila Prabhupada. And basically, the whole preaching is the essence. So this is all meant to one way we have to purify ourselves and give this message to others. Okay. Maitreya said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage, just like a shameless public prostitute. So she had the urge, Udara Upasthavegam. Upasthavegam means the urge, the force of the genitals. So she was like, by the Cupid, she was like being pushed, and she caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahman, just like a shameless public prostitute. The difference between a married wife and a public prostitute is that one is restrained in sex life by the rules and regulation of the scriptures, whereas the other is unrestricted in sex life and is conducted solely by the strong sex urge. Due to her being pressed by Cupid, Diti became a prostitute, and the great sage Kashyap, although very enlightened, became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is the strong force of the material energy. So Diti, like she approached Kashyap Muni, and Kashyap Muni also, uh, although he was very enlightened, he became a victim. Okay. Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act. And thus, after offering his obeisances unto worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. So, it was not the right time and not the right consciousness. So, it appears from the talk of Kashyap with his wife that he was a worshipper of Lord Shiva. And although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such a forbidden act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire. And thus he offered his obeisances unto faith. He knew that the child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child. But Kashyap could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. So he had a great desire to satisfy his wife out of affection for his wife. So he could not restrain himself. Like Prabhupada says, like that henpecked husband, right? So because he is controlled by his wife. Sometimes, I'm just giving an example. It can be other way also. That the wife is henpecked or husband is henpecked. Both can be. So what happens is that somebody wants to do spiritual. One spouse wants to get a book and buy it, and then the other spouse says, no, it's not. No, don't get the book. Don't. Either it's husband or wife, and then the husband or wife changes their mind, his or her mind. Why? Oh no, we should not get book because this is attached to the. So this attachment, Dhritarashtra was also very attached to his son, Duryodhana. So he could not hear anything about Bhagavad Gita, whatever we say like that. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken, but nothing was penetrating inside because of the attachment. Vidura was also giving him good advice until finally, he lost everything and then he came to his senses. But before that, nothing, he was falling on deaf ears because there was so much affection. So whenever we have affection for this material enjoyment and material energy, the words of the great souls, they do not penetrate our heart because there is a wall. It doesn't go inside. Like that's why it is said that this is the eternal enemy of the soul. Jnanino Nitya Vairina. Nitya Vairina means eternally. Vairina means the enemy. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina. The soul is full of gyan, but his knowledge has been covered. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina. Why? He is eternal enemy in the form of this lust. Kama rupena konteya dushpurena analinacha. So that is why you can't, like in the pastime of Nityananda Prabhu with the thieves, they are seeing Nityananda Prabhu, but they are so much covered by the desire to rob him, to get material wealth. This is another lust for wealth. Lust can be for any lust for power, lust for name and fame. There is different kinds, degrees of lust, different categories of lust. And then when you are covered by this, then you they should have gotten Nityananda Prabhu's. Of course, Nityananda Prabhu was so kind. He's so kind that he bestowed his mercy on even the thieves who wanted to rob him by giving them suffering first. So Krishna also gives suffering to us so that we can realize what wrong we are doing, and then we can come on the right path. That is also his mercy. So that's what caused the turning point in this pastime was his change of heart. The third time they tried to rob Lord Nityananda, and then they fell into a ditch, and all these things happened then. And then the leader of the dacoits, he had a transformation of the heart by Lord Nityananda's mercy. Like Jagai had the transformation of heart. How it happens? It is somehow the Lord's mercy. The suffering comes, and then, of course, but everybody may be suffering, but everybody may not come to the same conclusion. So eventually, everyone will come because the suffering is there, and like that. Okay, so that is the eternal enemy of the conditioned soul. And we have come to this world to be Krishna, to be the controller. So he knew that the child born of such, okay. In similar case, however, when Thakur Haridas was tempted by a public prostitute, Lakshahira, in the dead of night, he avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. So it means like Kashyap Muni was not perfect in Krishna. So as long as we are not in perfect Krishna consciousness, we can fall down. There is always the danger, which Bharat Maharaj also, he was on the Bhav platform, but he was not on the Prem platform. Bhav is the penultimate stage of Prem, but still he got distracted. He was on such a high platform. So this is a lesson. Bharat Maharaj's pastime is a lesson for all the conditioned souls. Through Bhagavatam, it's being taught that how one should be careful. Because don't think that you are very advanced. Bhav, he had Bhav, he was having tears in his eyes and so many things. So Bhagavatam teaches us through all this what are the pitfalls in devotional service. So he was too obligated to his wife. Kashyap could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. So he wanted to please his wife. He didn't consider whether spiritually it's good or not. That is another thing, when one is afflicted with the desire of sense gratification, then he doesn't consider whether this is good or not for me, for my spiritual life. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. One becomes mad after sense gratification and doesn't think whether it's good for me or not. In a similar case, however, when Haridas Thakur, okay, we read that is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyap Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life. Yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. So this is the binding force in this material existence. Thakur Haridas was not born of a Brahman family. So Kashyap was directly the son of Brahma, born as a Brahmana like that. Thakur Haridas, of course, is Brahma also, nor he himself was a Brahmana. Yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna conscious. That means if we don't want to succumb to the temptations of Maya, then we have to be very Krishna conscious. Thakur Haridas used to chant the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times daily. So you should chant the holy name, take shelter of the holy name more and more. And that is the way Prabhupada also said the fever of sense gratification will go down. Otherwise, it's not so easy without chanting the holy name. Thakur Haridas Prabhupada says that. Okay. And we have to accept the instructions of the Guru, Sadhu, the Shastra as our guide in life. So you should not think I'm very intelligent. I can bypass the instructions of the great souls and like that. So that's also another way to stand. Okay, the next verse. Any comments? Anybody else? Then you can say. These are all verses. Thereafter, the Brahmana took his bath. This is going to lead to the birth of the twins, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Thereafter, the Brahmana took his birth in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence, and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth. As one has to take bath after using the toilet, so one has to wash himself with water after sexual intercourse, especially when engaged in a forbidden time. Kashyap Muni meditated on the impersonal Brahma Jyoti by chanting the Gayatri mantra. So it says impersonal Brahma Jyoti within his mouth. When a Vedic mantra is chanted within the mouth so that only the chanter can hear, the chanting is called japa. But when such mantras are chanted loudly, it is called kirtan. Of course, in japa also we have three, Vachik, Upamshu and Manas. The Vedic hymn Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare can be chanted both softly to oneself or loudly. Therefore, it is called the Maha Mantra or Great Hymn. Kashyap Muni appears to be an impersonalist. When we compare his character with that of Haridas Thakur, as referred to above, it is clear that the personalist is stronger in sense control than the impersonalist. Why? Because he's got taste. More taste in bhakti. That's why he's stronger. That is why Krishna says of the two, एवं सतत युक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरम अव्यक्तं तेषां के योग वित्तमः. श्री भगवान उवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धाया पर्युपेतास्ते मे युक्ता तममतः. 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying of the two, the personalist is greater, one who worships me in devotion. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita as param drishtva nivartate, that is, one ceases to accept lower grade things when one is situated in a superior condition. One is said to be purified after taking a bath and chanting Gayatri. But the Maha Mantra is so powerful that one can chant it loudly or softly in any condition and be protected from all the evils of material existence. O son of Bharat family, Diti, after this, went nearer to her husband, her face lowered because of her faulty action. She knew that she is not doing the right thing, but she could not control. Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. Anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. Arjuna is saying, oh, he knows it is not right, but he is forced. The person is forced. So similarly, Diti knew in her heart that, so she was a little ashamed. But she went. She spoke as follows. When one is ashamed of an abominable action, one naturally becomes down-faced. Or sometimes they don't want to show their face. They wear the mask or something like that. Diti came to her senses after the abominable sexual intercourse with her husband. Such sexual intercourse is condemned as prostitution. In other words, sex life with one's wife is equal to prostitution if the regulations are not properly followed. Okay. The beautiful Diti said, "My dear Brahmana, kindly see that my embryo is not killed by Lord Shiva." She was afraid that the Lord of all living entities, because of the great offense I have committed against him. Let's see what purport Prabhupada says. Diti was conscious of her offense and was anxious to be excused by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has two popular names, Rudra and Ashutosh. He is very prone to anger as well as quickly satisfied. Ashu means quickly and Tosha means satisfaction. Diti knew that because of his being quickly angered, he might spoil the pregnancies she had so unlawfully achieved. But because he was also Ashutosh, she implored her Brahmana husband to help her in pacifying Lord Shiva. Why would Lord Shiva become angry? Because, I'm not sure. She has not directly offended Lord Shiva, but she just had. Lord Shiva, so she told her husband, "Can you please calm down, Lord Shiva?" For her husband was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. In other words, Lord Shiva might have been angry with Diti because she obliged her husband to transgress the law. Because Kashyapa was maybe devotee of Lord Shiva, but he would not refuse her husband's prayer. So if Kashyap Muni said then, therefore the application for the excuse was submitted through her husband. She prayed to Lord Shiva as follows. Let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously the very ferocious great demigod and the fulfiller of all material desires, is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise a wrongdoer. Diti prayed for the mercy of Lord Shiva very cleverly. She prayed, "The Lord can cause me to cry, but if he likes, he can stop my crying because he is Ashutosh. He is so great that if he likes, he can immediately destroy my pregnancy. But by his mercy, he can also fulfill my desire that my pregnancy not be spoiled. Because he is all auspicious, it is not difficult for him to excuse me from being punished. Although he is now ready to punish me because I have aroused his great anger. He appears like a man, but he is the Lord of all men." Okay. Let him be pleased with us, since he is my brother-in-law, the husband of my sister Sati. So there is also a relationship. He is also the worshipable Lord of all women. He is the personality of all opulences and can show mercy towards women who are excused even by the uncivilized hunters. So they say old men, women, child, cow, and there is one more, cow, children, cow, child, old men, women,
Brahmanas.
and brahmanas. Yeah, they're not to be punished. Lord Shiva is the husband of Sati, one of the sisters of Diti. Diti invoked the pleasure of her sister Sati so that Sati would request her husband to excuse her. Okay, so Diti's sister is Sati, who is married to Lord Shiva. So, besides that, Lord Shiva is the worshipable Lord of all women. So, if you want a good husband, that's why in Chaitanya Leela in Nimai's pastime, right? All the young girls who were not married, they were worshipping Lord Shiva. And Nimai came there and he took all the offerings that were meant for worshipping Lord Shiva. And they were worshipping Ganga also. And he took it and he put it on himself. And he started enjoying all the offerings. And all the girls were thinking, "Oh, what is going on? Nimai." They didn't know Nimai is Krishna. So, so they became upset. And Nimai said, "If you don't give me the offerings, then you will have an old husband with many co-wives." So then they became afraid that Nimai was cursing, then they gave them. "But if you give me the offerings, then you will have very good husbands and you will have many children with the husband." So that purport is there. I think on one Chaitanya Gaur Purnima lecture I was reading that purport. in the temple. Yeah. So they worship Lord Shiva, and those who want good wife, they worship Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. He is naturally very kind towards women, on whom even the uncivilized hunters also show their mercy. Since Lord Shiva is himself associated with women, he knows very well their defective nature, and he might not take very seriously Diti's unavoidable offense, which occurred due to her faulty nature. So Sati also at that time she was saying, no, I want to go, I want to go, right? In the Daksha pastime.
Yeah.
Every virgin girl is supposed to be a devotee of Lord Shiva. Diti remembered her childhood worship of Lord Shiva and begged his mercy. So they worship Lord Shiva to get a good husband. They do all this. There is all this Kadwa Chauth, and I don't know all this. Some ladies do for the welfare of their husband. Kadwa Chauth. But the main thing is just chant Hare Krishna. That's the main thing. All these things are not necessary. Just chant Hare Krishna and everything will become auspicious. Just do devotional service to Krishna. Shraddha Shabde Vishwash Kohe Shudrida Nishchay. Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. You don't need to do anything else. Just engage in devotional service to Krishna. And everything else is taken care of. So that's the faith. You should have everything will be done by serving Krishna. You don't have to do this yagna and this puja and that puja, this vrat and that vrat. Just do what Prabhupada has given. Just follow the morning program. Chant Hare Krishna, worship Tulsi Devi, go out on Sankirtan, distribute books of Srila Prabhupada, then everything is achieved. That's the program Prabhupada gave us. So just do this. Instead of doing this and that and so many things. Just read Bhagavatam, talk from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna, do something to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement. That's the main thing. Because the Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the holy name. So there is no need to do all these yagnas. As Prabhupada himself said, that we are doing all this to just satisfy the local population here in Vrindavan. But the chanting of the holy name is sufficient. So we should have faith. This chanting will give me everything. I don't need to do any extra thing. And if we chant with this faith, this chanting will give me supreme destination. Bhagavatam says that we should have faith. So we should be very eager to chant Hare Krishna. Kaler doshe nidhe rajan asti he ko mahan guna. There is one good quality, and this is the chanting of the holy name. Kalim sabha jayanti arya gunagya sara bhagina yatra sankirtan naiva sarva swartha vilapyate. Instead of getting caught up in all the rituals and things like that, just chant the holy name. Of course, Diti worship is there. Not saying that, but sometimes people do so many yagnas and this homa and that thing and this thing, and it's all not necessary. Chanting Hare Krishna is the best yagna for this age. And that is 50%, and then we have to make 50% is to make others chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says our movement is not to defeat people by logic and philosophy, but it is to induce people to chant the holy name of the Lord. He said, I have written all these purports to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. I have written all these books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. So of course we get inspiration. And of course, because we have to preach, people will ask so many questions and things. So we get sufficient knowledge and ammunition from Prabhupada's books to, defend ourselves. So, but chanting of the holy name is the actual way to make spiritual advancement in this age. And no other devotional service is complete without the chanting of the holy name. So we should first, of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant 16 rounds is the most essential. Prabhupada writes in the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita that this is the most important thing. Are we chanting 16 rounds? If we are doing so many other things and we are not chanting 16 rounds, then first we should chant 16 rounds. Then after doing that, we can do other things. So best thing is in the morning finish the chanting, so then you can do so many other services uh, throughout the day, and of course you can chant while doing the services also, and more chanting also. But Prabhupada said one time, I finished my 16 rounds, now I can do any damn thing I want. Means not like anything I can just let my senses go astray and do anything. No, but it means that now I can do so many other services, and if I've chanted good japa, my other services will also be done in good consciousness. So because this is like, so that's why the morning program is there. And once we have our new temple, then we'll do the morning program every day because it's close to our home. So just stick to the morning program to become enthused. Just do the Mangalarti, just do this. Don't give excuses. Just do it. Because otherwise there are so many excuses and so many distractions. So sometimes people have a job that starts very early, like in the industry there is a shift that starts at 3 o'clock. You have to go. Can't say I can't go like this. Then you'll not get your salary. So just do it. Don't think this way, that way. Uh, and drop anything that prevents you from doing this, because nothing is as important. And then the you know morning program chanting Hare Krishna in Mangalarti, and this is so we can do at home also. Of course, I am not doing everyday Mangalarti in the morning, but this is the program that Srila Prabhupada gave. Okay, so but you can chant throughout the morning. Like supposing you get up at 4:30 till 7 o'clock, you can just chant. So it covers everything. You may not be able to do Mangalarti, and chanting Hare Krishna is okay. Main thing is that whatever time we have to use it for Krishna all the time, full time. We have to do service to Krishna, whatever be the nature of the service, whether it's chanting or all the time. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm chanting all day, but I'm not able to finish my rounds. He's told Vallabha Bhatta. When Vallabha Bhatta came with some explanation of the holy name, he said, no, I know only two names, Yashodanandan and Shyam Sundar. And for me, this is enough. I know Yashodanandan and Shyam Sundar, and I'm chanting all the time, but still I'm not able to finish my round. So I don't want to hear anything else. He was saying like that to Vallabha Bhatta, who was a little proud. So Maitreya said, the great sage Kashyap thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. So the wife was trembling. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers. Yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world. So it was Sandhya Vandanam for him, and he was kind of deviated from doing that because of Diti. But she wanted her children to be nice. The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to demigods, everything was inauspicious. So he is also adding salt to her the wound. She's already feeling bad, and he's saying, no, everything was inauspicious. Of course, this paves the way for Hiranyaksha to be born. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. This pastime is it's teaching us a lesson, and it's also in a way propagating, Krishna's descent into this world as Varaha Dev, as Narsingha Dev. The conditions for having good progeny in society. Yeah, you want to say anything?
It's surprising that initially Kashyap was flattering her, and now he's saying that it's because of you everything became inauspicious. It's like the mind, right?
Correct.
Mind initially says, yeah, you can enjoy this and all, but once it's done, it starts to criticize.
Correct. Yeah, that's a very good point. So we cannot trust the mind because it can change colors. What it likes one moment, then say, I don't like now. That's how many marriages end in divorce. They have love marriage and things like that. Mind says, oh, I like this person, I like this person. And then after some time, things don't, and the mind says, I don't like this person. I don't want to be with this person. So mind can never be trusted. Prabhupada says like that. Mind can, hijack our consciousness, as it happened with Kashyap Muni. And then the same mind will say, why did you do like this? Right? You only, because of you only I got victimized. That's why Prabhupada said that one should not put faith in the mind. Rather, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, beat the mind in the morning with a shoe. As soon as you get up, beat it with the shoe. It is not our friend if it is keeping us in the material existence. Ultimately, it is the mind which keeps us in material existence. So beat it. In this way, you can dovetail your tendency to be angry, you can dovetail it by using it on your mind. And it is bona fide because it is authorized by the Acharyas. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said that you beat your mind with the shoe. Not literally that you take a shoe and beat your head, but you chastise your mind. When it comes with some nonsense proposals, you have to chastise. You stupid fellow, I'm not going to listen to you. Like that, you have to give siksha to the mind. Mana siksha. Raghunath Das Goswami has a book. And the more we give siksha to the mind, the more it will behave. Just like a child, if you don't give any shiksha to the child will just become very rowdy. Sometimes the parents don't, they don't take anything to discipline the child. They say, what can I do? He's behaving like this. Arey, you have to control the child. So yesterday we were telling, right? Intelligence is to the mind what mother is to the child. So you have to control, otherwise the child will become very spoiled brat. So, so intelligence has to tell the mind, no, this is not. And that's where we can fail, or we have failed, if we have we can see. So the intelligence has to be made sharp and strong. That's the whole analogy of this chariot analogy. And intelligence is made sharp. Of course, one is Krishna will give the intelligence in the heart. Tadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna will give the intelligence and think. And then from our past experiences also, we can understand so many things. Like that. So the conditions for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulative principles and the wife should be faithful to the husband. In Bhagavad Gita 7:11, it is said that sexual intercourse, according to religious principles, is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and wife must consider the mental condition, the particular time, the husband's directions, the obedience to demigods. According to Vedic society, there is an suitable, auspicious time for sex, which is called the time for Garbhadhan. Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction, and therefore although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she wanted good children, but she was not willing to follow the Garbhadhan sanskar. She was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of Brahmana. So Kashyap Muni said, yeah, it's not going to be good child. There is a clear indication herein that a Brahmana's son is not always a Brahmana. Personalities like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmanas. Like Hiranyakashipu is going to be born of a Brahmana, Kashyap Muni. But they were not accepted as Brahmanas because their fathers did not follow the regulative principles for their birth. That's why it is said, Kalau Sambhava Shudra. Everybody is Shudra in this age because nobody follows Garbhadhan sanskar. Our parents and their parents, and did they follow the Garbhadhan? Maybe they followed, I don't know. But most people are born out of lust, just because of the attraction. And that's why they are considered as Shudra. Such children are called demons or Rakshasas. So in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. There were only one or two Rakshasas in the previous ages due to negligence of disciplinary methods. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. And a lusty mentality attracts a lusty child to the womb. So that is what happens. A God conscious mentality attracts a God conscious child to the womb. That's what this is saying from what I am understanding. Yeah, so previously there were only one or two Rakshasas because most people were following Garbhadan Sanskar. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. How then can one expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society. So they are not God conscious because the parents, they were not conceived in God consciousness. That's why Prabhupada says you have to chant 50 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra before you conceive a child. So, but though the Krishna consciousness movement, through the Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to the human standard. But even though we are all Shudras, somehow or other, the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that one can be raised. As Prabhupada is saying. That is the unique. So we are all fallen in this age, but the mercy of Lord Nityananda is so great that somehow we are also able to practice, or I, not we, because you are exalted, but I am also able to practice Krishna consciousness. This is the mercy of Lord Nityananda coming through the parampara, Srila Prabhupada. And so that is somehow there is some, some inclination to chant Hare Krishna, something to do devotional service, some desire is there, mercy of the Nityananda Prabhu. So we should ask him for more mercy. Like that Brahmana, he fell down at the feet of Lord Nityananda. And Nityananda Prabhu put his lotus feet on the head of the Brahmana. He was not a Brahmana before, but the dacoit. At that point, this point, he's not a dacoit because he's already been transformed. So this is a Vaishnava. So Nityananda Prabhu put his feet. So that is, we can pray to Lord Nityananda. Please give me shelter at your lotus feet. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that. Let me see 1 minute. I was reading that. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that anybody who falls down at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, he is willing to lift them up. And he talks about himself also, how he was saved by Lord Nityananda, although he is great personality. This is from reading this. Who in the world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I am so sinful, I am worse than Jagai and Madai. Whoever hears my name, whoever speaks my name, they lose all their piety, and like this is saying. So, I am lower than the worm in the stool. What is that saying that? Lagishta, Papi say Lagishta. Like that he says. So that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? You want to read that?
जगाई मदार होते मुई से पापिष्ठा पुरुषेरा कीट होते मुई से लागिष्ठा. I'm more sinful than Jagai and Madai, and even lower than the worms in the stool.
And then later on he says, whoever hears my name loses all their piety. And like that, I think it's maybe the next verse. Yeah.
मोरा नाम सुने ये तारा पुण्य क्षय, मोरा नाम लय ये तारा पाप होय. Anyone who hears my name loses the results of his pious activities. Anyone who utters my name becomes sinful.
He is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita and is writing like this. So he's saying that who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? It is because of Nityananda's order he went to Vrindavan. And he had a quarrel with his brother because his brother did not have faith in Nityananda Prabhu. He had faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he didn't have faith in Nityananda Prabhu. So he later fell down also. It is described. And that very night, when they had the quarrel, Nityananda Prabhu came in his dream and told him to go to Vrindavan. And where he got the association of Swarup Damodar. No, not Swarup Damodar didn't go to Vrindavan. He got that Raghunath Das Goswami got the association of Swarup Damodar in Jagannath Puri. But he got the association of Rupa and Raghunath in Vrindavan, where he was hearing from Rupa and Raghunath. And he also got the association of Swarup Damodar because I think it was the diary of Swarup Damodar. The Raghunath Das Goswami was Swarupera Raghu. He was speaking, but Swarup Damodar was under the care of Swarup Damodar. And the diary of Murari Gupta, and like that, he was hearing about Lord Chaitanya, and then he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because he's intoxicated by ecstatic love. Prema Matte Nityananda Kripa Avatar. I think that is the verse. This Prema Matte means Prema is intoxicated by love of God and is the incarnation of mercy. He does not distinguish between the good and the bad. Uttama Adhama Uttama Kichu na kare vichar. He delivers all those who fall down before him. Therefore, he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. So he's saying that yes, he has delivered sinful. His thinking is very sinful. How is sinful? Well, he is humble. It is Denya Bhav. But he is teaching us how we should approach. If you want to get the mercy, we should feel ourselves very unqualified and very fallen, which we are in this Kali Yuga. And in this way, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Iva Sahishnuna Amani Namanadya Kirtaniya Sadar. I am very fallen, I need mercy, Lord Nityananda. You can only purify me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur even says that, how will you purify me? In the Gopinath song, he says, Kemone Shodhibe More. Shodhibe means Shuddha. Kemone, how will you purify me? Na jani bhagati, karme jadamati, porechi sanshara ghore, Gopinath. I don't know bhakti and I am entangled in fruitive activities. Na jani bhagati, karme jadamati. Podeshi sanshara ghore. I have fallen into this. Ghora means horrible. Podechi means fallen. I have fallen into this horrible cycle of birth and death. How will you purify me? I don't know. So I am just weeping and weeping at your feet. Gopinath niyata charanasthana mage he pamara kandiya kandiya koro he karuna dana. Gopinath. Oh Gopinath, I am just wanting a place at your lotus feet. Niyata charan sthan. I am weeping. So he is saying like this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying like this. So what are we? So we have to cry. That's why Prabhupada says we have to cry for Krishna's mercy. When you cry for Krishna's mercy, then Krishna will give you mercy. So, and you can't cry until you feel you are very fallen and you are so bad, you have no hope. So you cry for the mercy of the Lord. Of course, there is other crying in ecstasy. You feel so jubilant, like Prahlad Maharaj was crying. There is crying in separation also, and crying also because you are fallen. Crying in separation, that is the gopi, because they are feeling so much attached to Krishna, they are missing Krishna's presence. So they are crying in separation. And then there is another crying because we are fallen and we need mercy. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur playing the part of a conditioned soul. So crying. In Bhagavad Gita 7.11, it is said that, the sexual intercourse according to religious principles is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and wife must consider their mental condition. The particular, I think we read all this. Okay. Such children are called demons or rakshasas. There were only one or two rakshasas in previous ages due to negligence of disciplinary methods, but during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. Okay. Certainly, unwanted children, so Varna Shankara, cannot be a source of happiness in society, but somehow, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, is so great that everybody is drowned in this flood of mercy. That is a unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. Okay, so that's what this is saying. Okay, it's 8:35. We can read something else. Stop here. Bhagavad. We can read some pastimes or hear some class on Nityananda.